Welcome to Kemetic Warrior, episode 1. Tonight, rather, this will be labeled Ancestors or Your Masters. Now, I'm a young man, right? I know that a lot of my young brothers and sisters and those who are confused, we give our support to what's known as the black bourgeoisie. That would be your Sidney Poitiers, your Rick Rosses, Tiger Woods, so on and so forth. People who we see who have a lot of money, but when and if you look behind the money, you'll see who's behind the money. Now, my my wife and I, we did research. Oh, and that's my young warrior in the back, Ashe. Yeah, Ashe, yeah. Um, his net worth is, last time I checked, if it was correct, 700 million. Now I want you to really ask yourself, to all of you who are Rick Ross fans, have you seen any institutions built off of that? I'll allow you some time to think about it. Okay. Now, a lot of you will probably fire off a shot at me and say, well, that's his money. He doesn't need to do that. You're right, and you're wrong. I know that that sounds like an oxymoron because it is in some ways, but let me juxtapose it for you. If you have a man who makes a song called Freemason, and in it he makes a reference as such, all white neighborhood, you their favorite nigga. Obviously, the man has some level of consciousness about social conditioning. Knowing that, he references himself as a master in this song. Now, I'm not going to be like a lot of these other brothers in the conscious community who talk about things that don't matter or they can't prove. Oh, he's an Illuminati, da 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 da. I'm not going to start that because that's not the issue at this hand. What I'm more concerned with is the use, perception, and attachment and idol worship to people who don't give a fuck about you. What I would rather you do is look at the energy he's created that garnered him that 700 million. Take that, you put that inside yourself and know the truth. The reason I speak like this is because the ancient Kemetic priest, Kemet is another word for Egypt. The ancient Kemetic priest would give you enough, knowledge so you could find the truth on your own, because that's the only true knowledge, that which spews out of your own heart. And that's what I'm attempting to do here, because a teacher never shows you the truth. They can't blatantly tell you the truth because you wouldn't understand it, and then it wouldn't become your own. I'm gonna do like the Masons do. Well, some of the Masons. I'd rather stick the knowledge in a craft or a poem or a riddle or a proverbial truth and let you walk through the door. You you can lead a man to knowledge, but you cannot make him think. So I know that, don't get mad, bro, but it's the truth. You know, every time you buy a Jay-Z record, a Rick Ross record, Kendrick Lamar record, I want you to hold yourself accountable as well as that artist, because we had true artists here who died trying to get to where you want to be at. And I say that to say this: ancestors are masters. Masters are the ones who control the masses. Don't let anyone lie to you and make you think you know who a real master is. You cannot fire a shot at a general from an island. The people who run this world, you do not know their names. So don't sit here and lie and speak about the Illuminati and then you don't know your history. Because if you really knew who the Illuminati were, then you would shut your mouth. This is the kemetic warrior. We warriors over here. The reason I keep saying we, and that's for a reason. I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm going to speak in a manner to where you can develop your own truth. If you need help, email me, and I'm going to help you find your truth. A teacher is just a guide. Guide. God. Now, the reason I speak about these people is because they're being used in the agenda by the masters. This America is a debt wealth society. The rich stay richer and the poor stay poor. You idolize those who have which you do not have. For some, it's not idol worship. For some, it's inspiration. For some, it's hateration. Stop lying. Some of you busters just hating. And for some of you all, it's thievery. They stole your place. Keynote, the brother who was nicer than Jordan, who got locked up. No one hardly ever talks about him. The brother who cracked Albert Einstein's theory, they're still fighting him. The brother who found the cure to everything, every ailment known to man, they ridicule him, chastise him. You see what I'm saying? These people are your ancestors, not your masters. Your ancestors are the reason that you, I, and everyone else walking, are here. Now, why do I say that? Yeah, all of your ancestors aren't dead. If you understand laws of energy, no one ever dies. You need to stop fearing Masons and listen to it, some of them, because they're telling you the truth, among other groups of people. Everyone does not have to be rich or white to tell you the truth or to be of some effect in your life. The reason I say this is because when you start learning about your ancestors and then you start honoring them, something is going to happen inside of your psyche. I'm speaking out of experience and I'm not hiding my face. I'm speaking from experience and I'm not hiding my face. I'm speaking from experience and I'm not hiding my face. Case in point, I remember an old pimp told me this. And yes, it's going to get that deep. I told you. Sometimes you're going to laugh. Sometimes other things. An old pimp told me, learn about your ancestors because that's where you came from and that's what's inside of you. They've lived, they've spoken, and they've walked this earth before you. Any problem that you think you have and any problem you're going through has already happened before. The form may be slightly different, but your ancestors have walked it before. Learn from them. Their words are recorded, but most importantly, it's inside of you. It's inside of your DNA. The reason I say that is because I would rather you to study not the mechanics of your own self, but know yourself. Are you Christian? Okay. A quote that's very familiar to you is when the Messiah said, I'm paraphrasing, that the kingdom of God is within inside of you. Our ancestors said that first. Man, know thyself, for the kingdom of God is inside of you. You have to know yourself. If you read the words of Ptahotep, that's Ptah apostrophe Hotep, Ptahotep, he speaks about a certain way of life that will garner God to protect you in your sleep. In your sleep, you will be protected. So imagine waking, walking. If the great being, the first cause, will protect you in your sleep, imagine if you're walking righteously. The reason that you and I are black is because of our melanin. Our melanin is a transmitter of information as well as a receiver. Now, I know that the enemy is watching and listening. I'm not going to go too deep in. So when you and I meet in person, I'll tell you the truth. Because one of our other ancestors, Malcolm, also said that a lot of us brothers and sisters talk too much. And you wonder why we get shot before the war's on. The reason I say this is because we're all fighting drug addiction in our neighborhoods, spiritual depletion in our neighborhoods, relationships that have ran afoul, police brutality, so on and so forth. I tell you the weight of consequences of following a person who's a puppet of the masters as opposed of your ancestors. Your ancestors. It doesn't have to be someone strictly in your bloodline. It could be someone who came before you. And don't be so egotistical to think that animals can't be your ancestors. I want you to really hear me on this, bro. The martial arts were created from movements. Majority of the martial arts were created by the movements of animals who came before you or I. That beautiful hook you see Mike Tyson do, it's a creature in the animal kingdom that fights the exact same way. That beautiful kick Jean-Claude Van Damme does, it's a gazelle or a crane that kicks more extravagantly. The way that I headbutt, it's another animal out there that does that. So don't negate it. Don't let your ego negate that source of information. And I'm gonna wrap it up. When you know yourself, no one else or nothing else can tell you about yourself. Silence is a power untouched. Malcolm X, he never went to college. But could you tell? John Henry Clark, the base of his knowledge came from, well, I'm not going to say that, but his power was also untouched because he knew himself. Maya Angelou stopped talking for a quick time period. You could not tell that. I want you to think, man. Your ancestors or the masters? Knowledge or ignorance? Think. Who loves you more? Rick Ross, your boss, or, or the person who was in your family who was the first? Who loves you more? The person who loves you more will not lie to you. And our ancestors loved us dearly because they died for us and they're still here for us. You just have to know how to tap into it. Into it. Intuition. Learn how to use your intuition, man. I'm not going to get too heavy into it, but it will be another part towards this, and I'll have more examples of how to contact your ancestors and learning how to trust them, because that's also science too, because some of us are so messed up from traumatic slavery disorder to where we won't even trust ourselves. That's dangerous, because that's the only reason you can't see God, because you can't see your own soul. So Kemetic Warrior signing out on this one. Every day you wake up, ask yourself, ancestors or the masters, what message am I receiving out here in this world today? Is it from the ancestors or is it from the fucking masters? And who will I listen to? The masters or the ancestors? Because not all masters were evil. Not all masters were evil. Hotep.